Please give up from Ram Krushna.
Good morning, folks. The topic that I've chosen is like motion design system. We'll be giving a brief one-on-one about what it is, why is it required, how to set it up. A little bit about me. I'm Rama. I work as a product designer along with the design systems team at Behera. So yeah, let's get started. So first things first, like what is a design system, or in short, what I call it as a MDS. We all know what's a design system, right? Motion design system, to put it in simple words, is basically implementing motion at a foundational level in your design system. So like as you keep scaling your design system, your products, things remain consistent in terms of motion. Now the next thing is like why is it required? We all know that if your team, like you have a lot of people in your team, everyone has their like own way of building their prototypes, defining the motion of the components, the product, the transition. Things will start becoming inconsistent. But if you have a standardized set of patterns so that people can follow, so that is where you can utilize this in order to drive consistency across your products. Now let's get into like how to get started. I won't be diving much into the technical details of it. But I'll just give a brief overview of like what process you can follow basically. Also, since I work at Razorpay, I'll be citing a couple of examples from what we have done at Razorpay. So, how to set up your design system, the motion design system. The first process, it starts with branding and research. When I say branding and research, I mean the first thing is like understanding who your end users are. Like how they use the product on a day-to-day basis, what are the things that they require, having a good understanding of that. And the second thing is having an understanding of your brand. Like to give a very real-life example, so for a brand like Duolingo, the language that they have might not work for a product such as let's say Google or some other product. Each of the products have their own brand language. So having an idea of like what your brand is, it would help you define the way as in which direction you want to go ahead. Once you have some clarity on that, the next step is like setting up the foundational things or what we call the tokens. So what we have done is like we have set up foundational tokens for core action, duration and easing. So what these are core actions are basically your properties such as like position, rotation, things that you can animate. Then you have duration, it's basically the time taken for the entire animation to happen, and then you have your easing, like the defining the easing curves, ease in, ease out, things like that. And this is a very experimental stage. You have to play around a lot in order to figure out what works for your brand and what doesn't work out. Once you have these things in place, the next thing that comes up is like integration. What we have done is like basically start with implementing these tokens at your component level stuff. So anytime you are designing a component, a button, a modal, a popover, anything, that is when you experiment out and try out how to implement those tokens and see how you can standardize the motion at component level. And the next thing is like all this motion without, if this doesn't get implemented on the development side, it's of no use. So then the final is the like handoff stage. What we have done is we have built a custom template where we showcase all the values like the easing, the duration, the animated values to the developers. Sometimes the template doesn't work, so you also take a custom route sometimes. And these are basically the main 4 steps. The step 3 and step 4 are something that you have to try out in loop every time you are building a new component for your design system. Now this is how you can basically set up your motion design system in place. But let's say you have already done this, you have already set up your motion design system and you want to scale it up. So I'll give a few ideas that you can like think about or do more research around how you can scale up your motion design system. So one of the ideas is like accessibility. How you can respect the user's motion preference, how you can implement things such as reduced motion so that your motion becomes more accessible. The other thing is implementing transitions. So far we have been talking about implementing things at the component level, but you can also think of like how screen to screen transition works, how micro animations work, how your icons are animated. Those are certain things you can also implement as you keep on scaling your design system. And one more like final idea that I would like to give is like if you have a product which for which motion is a very important thing that provides value to your end users, dynamic duration is something that you can try and implement. So what's dynamic duration? Basically instead of defining a fixed duration for a particular transition or animation, you basically set the algorithm that defines how long the duration should be, depending on the size of your component or the UI element and the distance it animates. So there are a couple of ideas. Also beyond this, there are a lot of things that you can do, but this is just an overall idea. There are also a lot of technical things that I haven't covered here, but if you want to discuss about it, I'm available at arcade.design anywhere on the internet. Yeah.
Thank you, Ram.